All right. What's up, Danielle? Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
All right, Danielle, I have to know if you could create a new holiday for women, what would it celebrate and how would we honor it?
Ooh, okay. So many come to my mind. I'm going to do a body positivity holiday
Okay.
where women celebrate each other's body types, body figures, their own looks that God's given them. I think there's just a lot of insecurities in that realm. And how cool would it be to just like say, okay, we're celebrating our bodies today. We're going to, embrace all that we are.
So good.
I think that would be really cool. I could see like elementary schools, like parents getting involved and making it this whole thing. I don't know. I'm just dreaming about that.
Well,
That
we could
would be
start
so
it. Maybe
cool.
we should.
Maybe
I
we
mean, I know
should.
this month, I think you created a holiday as well for our community, the March Gladness, which I thought was
Did.
very sweet. You know, you got the
Yes.
March Madness, you got the March Gladness.
Uh-oh.
And really, we want to talk about some of the things you're seeing. I mean, you've coached more people in our community than probably anyone else. You work with thousands of women starting businesses. And so we were like, man, we got to get some of that gold on the podcast. And I think one of the topics that we could live on forever, but we should start with for sure, is the thing that you said before the show you see the most is that scarcity versus abundant mindset, right? Focusing on what we don't have versus focusing on what we do have, lack versus abundance, like however you want to say it, poverty mindset versus abundant mindset. Let's go into this. Maybe just starting by defining the two. Okay. Defining the two, and we can all just jump in on this. What's a scarcity mindset? What's an abundant mindset?
Yeah. I think just keeping it so basic, starting scarcity is I do not have enough, whether that's time, money, energy, versus I have plenty. I have more than enough time, energy, money. So at its core, I would say it's that.
I love that. I think like the pushback I hear from people too is like, but I actually don't have money, or I actually don't have time. All right. And so how have you seen people shift out of that in our community? Because we've talked about it from different angles, but sometimes people need to hear a different voice. What do you say to someone who's like, no, but I just really don't. I don't have it.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. So many things. But first, just going to like a spiritual lens, a faith lens, I would say like that's what your eyes see in the moment. Maybe you're looking at your bank account. Maybe you're looking at your business debt or personal debt and you're saying literally like the numbers are lining up. I'm in the red. I'm in debt. Right. So, okay. So maybe that's what your eyes are seeing. But part of like, I think getting out of the scarcity mindset is like taking a grander vision and view, kind of zooming out of your life and being like, well, what could I create or what could be here that is currently not here? So now we're talking like believing in something that's not there yet. One could say that's faith. One could say that's a vision, right? A vision is like believing for something you don't see yet. And so the first thing I just love to talk about is like, okay, but if you could zoom out and we could actually take a look at all the money in the world, like there's actually so many ways you can change those numbers that you can indeed find other forms of money if we're just talking about money in the moment. And we could totally go into that. You guys talk about this a lot, but investors, credit cards, borrowing, working, we talk about creating new cash flows, right? Like, and so that's like all for it where I would start.
That's amazing. Danielle, I think when I hear you speak and get into your presence, like we are now, you just have so much like joy and energy. And I think you really do. You carry and embody this abundant mindset that you're not only teaching on and training on, but you're like fully living it yourself. I'm just curious because I don't know like all the ins and outs of your own story. And I think our listeners and students would like love to hear that. Like, what was your own journey with an abundant mindset? Did you grow up with parents who believed that? Was there like any pivotal moments in your life where you're like, it clicked for you and now you're able to teach on it with such authority?
I'm so glad you asked this, and buckle up because we're about to get vulnerable. I say vulnerability is a superpower, and I
Yeah.
am so excited to share a part of my story that honestly I was not excited about for a long
Hmm.
time. So, could probably imagine I ding 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 did not grow up in an abundant mindset home. I want
Hmm.
to I definitely want to honor my family and the way I speak, but the truth of the matter is I actually was raised with just really harsh language being spoken to me. And it was
Hmm.
like, get A's or you're like worthless. It's kind of
Hmm.
like my view of it. Like I have actually always been like loud and fun and joyful and bringing this into a room. And my family just did not know what to do with that.
Hmm.
So they tried to kind of put me in like put me into societal like norm, like
Hmm.
don't be too loud, you know, don't be too crazy. I remember being told like to stop crying when
Hmm.
I was crying as a kid. And it was just, I felt it really hard to just be myself. And
Hmm.
so so I didn't have a choice. It was like go to college or go to college.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I like did not want to go to college. I did not want to go.
Yeah.
But my
Why did
family was like,
you go to
no, you're
college?
going. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. So I went to college and I just started to discover like I had such a low view of myself.
Hmm.
I actually could go so far to say, I look in the mirror and all I did was shame myself, the way I looked. I would always compare myself, like I'm not as good as her.
Hmm.
I kind of accepted that second best or like middle class was just kind of like all that there was going to be for me.
Hmm.
And I say middle class because that's how I was raised. So financially, that's kind of like where I was in. So like I never went without food or clothing, but I did go without emotional and spiritual support for the
Hmm.
first like 18 years of my life. And so I started to realize, why am I so incredibly negative in my head
Hmm.
myself? Like, and I honestly put a cap on my dreams. I was like, I'm just gonna go to college and get a job and like do that for 30 years. And
Yeah.
hear me out. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hmm.
I was just like, that to me was like my ceiling. Like that's and then guess what? I got it. I
Hmm.
got it. Like, and
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, there's gotta be more here.
Hmm.
And so somebody approached me when I was 25, 26. I had actually just gone through a broken engagement with my
Hmm.
best guy friend. We met in
Wow.
high school and our whole lives were going to be planned out. And he left me just
Wow.
a few months before the wedding and honestly broke my
Wow.
heart.
Yeah.
And that is also when I began to see like, this is all my fault. So, like,
Hmm.
shame language. I'm not good enough. This was the best I was going to get. And he left
Yeah.
me. So, therefore, who else is going to come around?
Yeah.
So kind of settled into this settling mindset. Like, I'll probably just be single for a long time.
No.
I'll probably just like accept that being on a teacher's salary is like all that there is. Cause see, I wanted to buy a house and I
Hmm.
looked at the numbers of what I had. So here we go. I looked at the numbers and I saw this vision of owning a home, having a family, bringing in foster kids. And I said, I can't do it.
Hmm.
It's not in the cards for me. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough knowledge. This is all there is. So see, I started like even making my life even smaller at that point. And
Yeah.
then somebody came into my life who was a business owner. And hey Danielle, you would be really great at business. And I was like, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like you need to like have it, you need to like, first of all, be really smart to be a business owner. You have to like have your stuff together. You
Mhm.
have to like be willing to take risks. And I am literally none of those at the moment.
Hmm.
And he said to me, he said, that is not true. Can I
Hmm.
tell you another story? And I said,
Wow.
whatever, I guess. Like, you can try.
Yeah, sure.
And he was like, he literally was making $10,000 a month. And I was like,
Wow.
Lord, I was like, I'm never going to do that. Are you freaking? No, like
Hmm.
that's triple what I make in a month. Like, and you don't even work 40 hours. Like, how's this even possible? And he just went on to tell me like his beliefs. He's like, I just believe that there's an abundance of money. I believe that there's an abundance of time. And I started to watch him, how he like was in charge of his finances and took on this, the word you guys use in the community, a solutionary mindset. Like he came up with solutions when problems arose. And listen, back then when problems arose for me, I threw a hissy fit, I blamed somebody, and I just stayed right where I was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, something's got to change. And then I became just so incredibly desperate for something new, something else. And then also on the spiritual side, God literally talked about in his word that he wants to bless his children, that there is a literal abundance of resources. And then I began to like ask myself, maybe this could be true. And I don't think it could be true, but like this could maybe be true for my personal life. And I could keep going on, but in my teaching, you guys, when I was working as a high school teacher, that was my first career of 10 years. So much negative thinking. And I taught languages. I taught ESL, English as a second language. And I realized they were saying, I can't learn another language.
Yeah.
It's too hard. I don't have enough resources. And I'm like, no, not possible.
Yeah.
Let's flip the script. And then I went on to learn like about my brain and how I can change up neural pathways and that there's another way.
That's amazing.
What was the first step towards that other way for changing your thoughts? And I know you work with our community on changing their thoughts. So if someone's listening to the show, they're like, you know what? There's one area that's come to mind where I still maybe have these thoughts where I'm like, oh, there's not enough. Whether it's time, money, whether it's resources, whatever that is. What's the first step that's starting to change the reality?
The first step is to become aware of your thoughts. And and to be just completely honest with yourself. I think there's a lot of people who struggle to be honest because they might not like what they see. And I like to tell them, guess what? It is through honesty and looking at what you are thinking right now that is going to literally be the gateway to a breakthrough. You cannot have it. You will stay stuck if you're not willing. And you know what it also requires? It humility. To say, hey, there might be another way. And that hurts. That hurts our pride. Like, it's painful sometimes to say, man, I have been believing this. I have been thinking this way. So I would say the first step of being aware and being willing to acknowledge that there is another way.
Yeah. I think like I look at my own life and I feel like I can relate to so many different parts of your story, and I'll probably circle back and ask you some more in-depth questions about it. But I think for a long time, was really guarded, especially when it came to mentors speaking into my life, or I guess like thinking that, I never thought I was like perfect by any means, but I would say I was always self-aware. But as far as like looking inward at like my patterns or unhealthy behaviors, because we all have them, it was really hard for me to like, I think, admit that and also take feedback from others. And I would say it was later in our adult lives where we now, like we've been working with the same business coach and marriage coach. And some of the hardest conversations we've had has been him. And again, we've built trust, we've built relationship. So it's not just some stranger that I'm asking to speak into us. But some of those things are really not hurtful, but just like, oh, wow, like it's not fun to like look inward oftentimes and change. Like it's so much easier to stay where you're at in the same mindsets, because again, it's those neural pathways that have been created. And oftentimes it's stemmed from childhood and like all of these things. So you have to work extra hard to shift and to change. And that's work. And imagine doing that when you're a mom, when you're starting a business, you got a million things on your plate. And so I could totally relate to that, but it's so important. And now I think back to even some of our early dating and my defaults that would like drive Stephen crazy, like, that were like really make it or break it moments in our relationship. And it's like, wow, I'm so glad that my default is no longer that. But it took so much intentionality and work and time. It's not just like an overnight thing. And so that's why I love what you're about with just like mindset training and thinking about it and just like looking and having that like self-reflection. So that's just like summing it all up of just like yes and amen to what you're saying, and I love it. Danielle, I'm curious, like you were kind of talking about like your parents wanting to put you in a box and like go to college or go to college. That was your only option. And I think that there's probably an element in your life that I'm guessing that you kind of felt misunderstood or like the odd one out. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel that way. I've felt that way for so long. And I finally had someone say, like, you will be misunderstood and it's okay. And to release that. And that was freedom for me. I'm curious for you what your journey was like in feeling misunderstood and just being like, this is who I am, like, and I'm going to roll with it.
Oh, that's so good. And I want to just mention like any new skill that we learn, it's the same with like switching up our thoughts and like how you said, I think there's sometimes pushback and like, oh my gosh, I'm like managing a home, I'm trying to be a wife, I'm mom, work at the
Yeah.
kids' school, homeschool or whatever. Now I've got to like work on me. And I'm like, yes, girl, yes,
Yeah.
queen. Like you deserve it. Like
Yeah.
you think actually too little of yourself.
Yeah.
It's like that, and that's a whole nother topic we could get into, but it's actually like a calling up of like people into their worth and into like
Mhm.
what God's calling them to. And it can just, there is pushback. And I think it 100% relates to like your question, because it's really like, am I willing to own who I am, my gifts? And am I willing to sit here? It's really a form of rejection.
Mm.
I don't like feeling rejected. I do not like it.
Wow.
It is
Yeah.
never feels good for somebody to say, I don't understand why you do that. Well, it's actually polite. You know, like, okay, this happened to me at my own birthday dinner a week ago. Like, it still goes on in my family. Like, they just
Yeah.
make little side comments at the dinner table about like me eating Whole Foods or like, oh, well, that's Danielle's opinion. The
Yeah.
rest of us, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yes, like, so like today, Danielle today is able to say, I'm able to see my family as people who are not trying to hurt me. They're just responding to the level that they're willing to go themselves.
Yeah.
I've actually come to adapt the thought that rejection is never personal. So
Mm.
them rejecting me doesn't actually have to do with me. It has to do with their
Yes.
poverty thinking, their lack thinking. Hey, if you want to continue to eat processed foods and not care what goes into your body, that's your choice. I'm not living that way.
Yeah.
I'm choosing to make, and you guys know when you make a decision and it brings up offense, it just
Yeah.
doesn't, it has to do with the person giving it. And so I'm able to
Yeah.
look on, honestly, because of Jesus loving me, Jesus being rejected, I'm able to say, you know what? I can go to that dinner table and I'm going to love them, whether they're going to reject me or not. I've also been through all forms of abuse you can think of. And so just like being able to forgive those who have abused me and have also hurt me in that way when it wasn't my choice, it comes from a deep level of just understanding that I'm loved by the Lord and I have been forgiven of much, so I can forgive and give grace to others in that moment. But I'll tell you what, that is another skill. It's another calling to choose to like do that over and over again, give the benefit of the doubt, not take it personal, not take offense myself to the person who's trying to offend me. Like it's hard work and it's possible. And I would rather do that work to see reconciliation or peace than stress and anxiety. I think that answered your question.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was great.
I'm curious. There's like two ditches on the side of the worth conversation. The one you talk about is underworthing, undervaluing yourself, underworthing
Yeah.
yourself, undervaluing yourself. The other side is tying your worth to something. Like, so I'm curious for you, like, when was the first time, you realized your worth wasn't tied to your productivity or your title or your occupation, right? It's so common in our culture to be like, hey, what do you do? Like it's like a second question typically someone asks you. And then we're attaching a worth or identity even to that thing. For you, how have you kind of made sure to know your worth outside of what you do?
That is a fantastic question. And I am by no means an expert, obviously, but like, I Enneagram. Okay. If anybody knows the Enneagram personality test kind of
Yeah.
thing, I love it. I love all things personality. And I am in 3 on the Enneagram, which is the high
Mhm.
achiever.
Me
And my
too.
biggest,
That's
okay.
good.
Well, that makes sense.
Enneagram
That's
friends. Oh man.
different.
I really wish I could remember my Enneagram,
You need
but
to retake the test.
You're
uh,
probably a 9 or an 8, in my
yeah.
opinion. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something a 9 or an 8 would say. But the key fear is just feeling and being worthless.
hmm
And I've just honestly had so much fear of being like my parents and the way they parented me to feel so worthless all the time that I like overachieved. I'm like,
hmm
oh, I'm never gonna feel worthless. So like I'm gonna go like start a bunch of businesses. I'm gonna like be the top like vegan eating CrossFitter in my
Yeah.
community. Like I'm gonna read 500 books and like have all the mentors, hire a coach, which guess what? All that is beautiful. But if it is in place, it is trying to give me something to feel
Yeah.
worthy, then that is the problem. So I
Yeah.
go to the first commandment first of like, don't have any other gods above God. So I get to like say, hey, God, I'm sorry. I'm finding my worth in these things that are just so trivial. They're here one day, gone the next. And so for one, it's coming back to being a daughter of the Lord, of Jesus, and saying, you give me my worth. What you bring and what you give and what you take away, I trust you. You gave your life up for me. And then I remember, I'll just never forget the day that I quit my job. I quit my 9 to 5.
Wow.
This is a teaching job.
Yeah, with
Okay.
no okay, I kinda had a plan because, I was looking at 60-hour weeks, like,
Yeah.
building my businesses on the side of the full-time job and, like, actually got myself really sick. So that didn't work out very well in the health department.
Yeah.
But I left my job. This was not that long ago. I left teaching where I had 2 degrees in, where
Wow.
my whole family was, like, super proud of me. See,
Yeah.
because their success would be to see me retire in the field I went to college for.
Mhm.
That's success to them.
Yeah.
And so I had to just say, I am not gonna be defined by what I do. Oh, here's another thing. Teachers get such a great rep in the community.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a
It's like
high.
fantastic.
Yeah. Which it's
Like,
an amazing thing, but
Yeah.
it's like it
it
does have
is.
this like kind of status to it. So was your family like, what? What are you doing?
Yeah, yes, and then they still are to this very day. So that has not changed, y'all.
Like, when are you gonna start teaching again?
Yeah.
Somebody asked me the other day because my license is about to expire that I worked really hard to get.
Yeah.
And that's a risk I'm willing to take because 2 reasons. Number 1, it doesn't give me the time freedom that I'm looking for, and it does not give me the financial freedom that I'm looking for.
Mm.
Yeah.
And that's my decision and that's my vision. And I've taken a lot of risks even to just get where I'm at right now. And am I where I want to be? No, no. Am I where I was? No. So
Mhm.
that's great. That's progress. Like
Mhm.
I have skills and a mind. See, my mind is just completely
Yeah.
transformed. And that's why I'm in this space because you can transform your habits. You can transform your timetable. A lot of people in our community, they're high achieving people, right? Like, let's be honest, like
Mhm.
they're getting stuff done, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you lay your head on your pillow and you just think so low of yourself and you're like, I
Mm.
don't deserve this. This is never gonna happen.
Mm.
Why am I doing this? Doubt, doubt, doubt.
Yeah.
That is a scary, dangerous, and just unfulfilling place to be
Mm.
that I hate to see people in. And I'm like, okay, how can we get you out of this? Because girl, your life. Have you ever heard somebody say, you're like living my dream life? And then the
Yep.
person's like feeling like absolute crap.
Mm.
Like there's a disconnect there in your worth.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so I'll tell you this. I still struggle with this to this day.
Mhm.
I haven't married yet. I've dated a lot in the last like 15 years of my life. I would say I'm pretty good at dating. I'm not pretty good at like finding my husband and like getting married, but like that's coming.
Yeah.
But like showing up to a date and not with this energy, like this prove it energy. Like,
Mm.
oh yeah, I have these many businesses and like I go to bed at the same time every night. And like I drink 100 ounces of water a day. And like I eat Whole Foods. Like, who am I? Like, let it go. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not defined by those things. Like, where's my heart? Where's my vision?
Yeah.
Like, what's God up to?
Yeah. That's amazing. We get asked all the time, what are your favorite books? So we put together a quick free download of the top 15 most influential books that helped us grow a 7-figure business by age 30.
The cool part about this list is they're actually sequential, from the ones we read at the very beginning to the ones that are impacting our lives right now. With the list, we also have the hookup for audible.com, where you can listen to the books on a walk or while doing the dishes. This is my favorite way to consume books. If you want the list, go to rainmakerfamily.com/deals. We also have a link to Audible there so you can listen to the books on the go. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/deals.
I want to switch gears and talk about overwhelm, which is something that is a word used often in motherhood, in business ownership, in adulting, adult life. Like, it's real. And in our community, especially, like, what are some things that or like some tools or coaching, if you're like coaching a student who's like, I just feel so overwhelmed, like, what would you say, and where would you want to lead them in the process?
So, such a great question. And I know every person listening can relate to this because we've all felt this. Actually, it's like a concoction of emotions. It's not just like one emotion. But I was just on a call earlier today and she said, I feel overwhelmed. And I'm like, okay. So, first, I would say a feeling is actually connected to a thought, and your thought is connected to a belief. Whether you're aware of it or not, then they happen within nanoseconds of one another. I learned this from Dr. Shannon Irvine and tons of other people in the neuro world. Like, it's just like literally how God made our brains, which I find so incredibly fascinating.
Yeah, same.
And right? So it's like, you know how people say, oh, I can't help my feelings. This is so interesting. Actually, you can.
Oh, so cool.
So first, I want to empower them and say, hey, I acknowledge your feelings. Let's acknowledge how we feel. There's nothing right or wrong about a feeling. It just happens. It is. And everybody feels overwhelmed for different reasons. To you, Chelsey or Stephen, overwhelmed to you may be like, that's easy for me. What you mean? Or vice versa. So I would acknowledge the feeling, and then I would say, okay, so it's connected to a thought, which is connected to a belief. So I would kind of help them try to uncover their thought that's linked to overwhelm, and then their belief that's ultimately linked to overwhelm. And here's the beauty. We have full control over our beliefs. That's empowering. It's very empowering to know that we have the power, I believe, God-given, and he cares a lot about what we believe. And so I would say, hey, let's dig into your belief. Is that a belief you want to hold on to? Getting curious. We want to get curious too about our emotions. They're trying to tell us something. And so then I would also just want to say overwhelm. Melissa, actually, a coach in our community, said this, and it's stuck with me. It's either you've got one of two options. You've got too much on your plate, quite literally too much, or you lack clarity. So maybe we can also tackle one of the two. A lot of people in our community say it's both. I'm like, okay, let's start with one, but just the beauty of acknowledging the feeling, saying, hey, there's actually a different way here. There's a different way.
Yeah.
You don't actually have to you don't have to partner with that. Life can look different.
Yeah, that's so good. I think for me, when I have felt overwhelmed, which I've felt that way a lot as an entrepreneur and as a mom, and we've moved and businesses and all the kinds of things, I think I just try and remind myself of like, just what can you do today? And I'm such a list maker, and just acknowledging like, I'm going to get through this. And I think also when I think about overwhelm, like, just reevaluating my schedule and my life and what is happening around me, and just seeing like, how can I pull others into it? How can I ask for help? How can I gain perspective? Like, I'm thinking about right now a friend who, she hasn't said I'm overwhelmed, but I can tell she's overwhelmed, and she's kind of in my shoes. She's in the shoes that I was in like 6 months ago before we moved, where it was like, they're having to move their business. They're having to figure out a nanny. They've got kids that are in sports and birthday parties to plan, and they're packing and cleaning, and it's a lot. And they don't even know what they're like. They don't know where they're living next, in a couple of months. All they know is that they want to move. And I'm like giving her perspective of like, whether you move 2 months from now or 6 months from now, like it's not going to matter you're going to get there eventually. And how can you take one day at a time and focus on your family and focus on like, I would say for a business owner that's feeling overwhelmed, those highest ROI tasks that only you can do today. And at least for me personally, and I don't know if you see this, Danielle, in yourself or women that you coach, but I almost certain tasks, like I get overwhelmed by it and then I almost like don't want to do them. Like I just procrastinate. I think it's a little bit of like the ADHD dyslexia brain that is a gift, but also comes with other things too. Yeah. Like for me, sometimes knowing that I have a bunch of copy to review or emails or content to review, like that's a lot of work for my brain. And so I find myself procrastinating it. But then if I don't do it, I start to feel overwhelmed. So I'm just giving like personal life examples of when I think about like overwhelmed, but I love the freedom of like, you can choose and change your thoughts. Like that's really freeing and encouraging. It should be encouraging.
Do you have any stories of like, a time when you dug into an overwhelmed feeling, you found a belief, and you're like, oh, that's not a belief I want to keep, and change it? Or maybe someone in the community, you've seen that happen?
Oh my, yeah, that literally every day. Like what? Like this is like daily stuff here. Well, and I want to get to that. But Chelsey, you said, I just thought like, what can I do today?
Yeah.
What kind of woman says, I'm going to do what I can do today?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you had to answer it, like what kind of woman says, I'm going to go like step by step. I'm going to go through my to-do list. I'm going to just stay focused. Like, what kind of woman shows up like that? If you had to think of like a word.
Word. Someone who's trying to grasp for control. I don't know. No, someone who's trying to like not feel overwhelmed.
I mean, it seems powerful to me. Like it's kind of like she's decided what she wants.
Yeah. So I'm hearing like power, a powerful woman, or maybe a woman in control, in the good sense of it, because we do want to partner with control and the self-control. So I hear like someone who's self-controlled, a woman who believes that it's possible to go, one task at a time. Yeah. So that would be the belief. So like partnering with, I am a woman in control. I am a woman who, what did I just say?
Having self-control.
Has a plan.
Powerful. So those would be like beliefs to come to partner with for the moment. I'm powerful. And because of that, I am going to go one step at a time. So that's a little exercise, kind of like looking at who the being behind your actions. I'm going to just be honest with y'all because this is so funny timing, God's timing of this interview and just what just happened in our own community last week. So like we're learning how to stream into multiple platforms, right? We have this awesome Mindset Monday call that I get to be a part of. And Stephen's like, hey, we're definitely like, we want more people to hear this. I think that's amazing. So we get to stream into a third platform. And I'm over here like, love the vision. Like I need the vision, right, to help me in my day-to-day tasks. But I've had this belief about myself, honestly, for years that I am not good at tech. I'm not a tech person. I don't know. Like please toss it onto the tech assistant. Because like, I'm not doing that. Are you being crazy? Like, no. So I literally felt overwhelmed pretty much the entire week last week. Like every time I would go, because I blocked it. I'm a good life.
I've done probably a 30-minute video explaining how to do this. So it was not a simple task.
Literally.
Minutes of a video how to do something. I feel overwhelmed.
I had a belief that no one else could do this except for me because it was so complicated.
Real time sorting through the feelings right now.
I'm like, I'll have to do this forever because no one else can learn this. It's so
When I got the video, and even Stephen was like, "This is kind of complicated." I'm like, "Oh gosh, even he thinks it is." Like, what on earth am I? Like, I literally was like, I cannot do this. Like, there's
Yeah.
like, my heart started palpitating.
no.
That overwhelm.
Yeah.
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 Like, and I said, so I acknowledge my feeling. I feel overwhelmed. Okay, I'm going into blame right now. I want to like blame somebody. And Megan, somebody in the community is like, she's working with me, and I'm just like not having it. I'm just like walls up, like being so rude in my own form of rude, of like, well, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have time for that. Like, the poverty thinking, the thoughts came very quickly to me. My natural response was like, I cannot do this. But what is so beautiful about this community, and what I also partner in thinking, is how can I?
Hmm.
So I literally did my own coaching. I said, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed. What thought is? My thought is, I am not a tech person. I don't know how to do tech. And then it dawned on me, I have a belief that I'm not capable of doing these sorts of tasks. And do you
Mm.
want to know that this has kept me small in
Wow.
my role and other roles? And I decided I don't want to have that ceiling on me anymore.
Hmm.
It's either I get better at this, or I'm going to have a ceiling. I'm going to be tapped at like my potential. And
Mm.
I'm the only one who gets to decide that. No one else is saying this about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I took on the new belief that I'm a tech genius.
Awesome.
And I don't fully believe it. Well, but I will, because we know that our beliefs, I have to believe it before I can see something.
Yeah.
And so I literally write it on I like write every week. I write like my little to-do list, and
Yeah.
I wrote, I'm a tech genius, because I have to, or
Yeah.
what? Or what's my alternative here?
Yeah.
Just being stuck, being overwhelmed,
Yeah.
blaming. That's like, I come from a place of abundance. And
Hmm.
so this is just a skill that I think we all can use at all,
Mhm.
like honestly, throughout our day-to-day life. Like, and then guess what? Eventually this skill is gonna be easy.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do the next thing that feels overwhelming. And then I get to decide, what kind of woman do I want to be? And deep down, it really is, am I worth it?
Hmm.
Mhm.
I deserve to be better at this skill and make my life literally better and easier.
Hmm.
Or do I want to partner with anxiety, overwhelm? And so it's a tough choice sometimes,
Mhm.
though.
Yeah.
Telling you, one of those days I said, no, I'm just gonna stay in overwhelm right now. I'm gonna
Mhm.
like throw a little fit.
Yeah.
Like,
So it feels good for just a hot minute, throw a
Yeah.
little fit, you
Yeah.
know?
yes. I literally told, I was like,
We
I
always
don't want to
and Chelsea tell each other, like, I just need to be like mad about this for a second. Is that okay? Like, I don't need coaching, because
Yeah.
we'll both try to pull each other out of it,
Yeah.
like, hey, what's the belief behind this?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I just want to be
feel
mad.
sad.
I want to
Yeah.
be sad. I want to be like angry, So
Yeah.
I think it's fine to like let that feeling
Yeah.
release,
Yeah.
and then you power through it, and you did it. That thing's been running ever since, like, I mean, I don't know how many calls you've done since that, like 4 or 5, streamed it. Okay. But I've seen other people stream it in.
Okay.
No one else will do it. So did you teach someone else, or more people learn this?
They're about to be taught.
Oh, dang. Okay. So
We're about to
multiply.
teach it to more. I'm literally, people are gonna look to me.
That's right. I'm gonna introduce you that way now. This is our coach and tech genius, Danielle.
I'll give you
Yeah.
permission.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you
That's so
said it
cool.
already with such confidence. I'm like,
I
yes,
know.
she is. She is.
I think
what
it's
she
so
said.
cool though,
Yeah.
because this story, it's just like, it's a granular moment of
Yeah.
your journey, but like, what is that going to unlock in the future of you, and what you're called to, and like what even the future of the role we're dreaming of for you in Rainmakers is like, it's going to require a tech genius at some point,
Yes.
some points, at some point you'll have people doing that for you, but a lot of it is, hey, I gotta learn this thing. So that's such a powerful story.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
And I just want to say that this has come up in so many other times of my life,
Mm.
and I have not chosen to address it. So like, just like, not to like, it's just the reality. Like, I wasn't ready and I wasn't willing to step into this. It takes courage. It takes vulnerability. And like I said, being honest with myself.
Hmm.
And that's why I'm like so resilient, because even though like it's happened, because see, now I have a new view of like, I could look and be like, oh, I should have done it this time and in that job. And I was always the person calling the tech person 5 times in a day. And like, I probably was so annoying to people, like, and I still kind of am. But you know what? Like, celebrating this moment and that I decided I want to make a change now.
Hmm.
And that is fully in our hands. And I tell people, you're in this community. You said yes to building a business, and you're going to have moments. There's going to be valleys and there's going to be mountains. And we are here to walk that through with you. And if you, to be completely honest, like so many people also, how about this thought? I want to quit.
Hmm.
Like I
Yeah.
literally did a whole mindset Monday. I'm like, let's normalize the thought, but let's not normalize the action.
Yeah, that's good.
Right? We all have these thoughts, but like,
Yeah.
what do you want to do with that? And
Yeah.
if you decide you want to quit, by all means, I am like, you go ahead and quit. But I don't think that's what you really want, because you've
Yeah.
invested in this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's not really what you want. You're probably just tired or need a nap
Yeah.
or need
Yeah.
a laugh or,
Yeah.
Totally.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
Mhm.
Okay, I have an idea. Let's end this with a couple rapid fire questions. Your answers don't have to be rapid fire, but I'm going to say them fast. Okay. What is like, a piece of advice that was commonly given to like women specifically, or women in business, that you're like, don't ever say that again.
so something I just really think is nonsense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
You don't need to call anyone out specifically. I know you wouldn't, but maybe it's like a common thing that people are like, oh, well, and they say like the other day, Ollie was a little sick and he's drinking some milk, and can I throw you under the
Yeah,
bus? Is that
that's
okay?
Yeah.
It's not a bad throw under the bus. It's actually not even throwing Chelsey under the bus, but she just is like, oh, well, when you drink milk, like, and you're sick, it like adds to the phlegminess, I was like, that makes a lot of sense, so I just believed it. But then I was like, wait a second. I went to the internet, ChatGPT, and it was like, this is a common myth that people just say. It's just one of those things that like people throw out
Mhm.
there, but it's not really true. But we got it from like
That
our
we
parents.
know of according to the
You know?
internet.
Yeah.
So,
So
maybe there is.
ChatGPT is not always 100% accurate, and I'm not always challenging every little thing. But I had this little moment of just like, Ollie's just loving this milk. Like, let's just let him keep drinking it. And, sometimes we catch those things from parents or from society where it's just like, oh, well, another one we've talked about on the podcast is like long dresses don't look good on short women. That's something that Chelsea's family said. She's really short, but that's not truth. Like that's not true in the world. And so, but you just believe these things, and that's affecting everything that she's buying. And we've broken that one off in the podcast before. So now she buys long dresses too. What's one of those things that you're just like, man, I grew up with this, or I hear people come in and say this thing, and I have to be like, no.
Yeah.
Okay, there's actually so many. So, okay, the first one is I can't build a business and have a family. Like I can't have a thriving business and a thriving family at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can't have my dream life. Something that I love has got to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't take very good care of myself and be a mom and run a business. I would say those, and I'll say
those are big.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, what's an unglamorous but powerful habit that you swear by?
This is hard. Okay. Brushing my teeth at night.
Pretty good.
Because I let that habit go. What'd you say?
I have to always do that.
I was surprised Chelsea's admitting to it, but I'm way worse than Chelsea. So, I was like,
I do need to get
Chelsea's
better.
like, we should get the boys to brush their teeth more. And I'm like, first, I need to brush my teeth more. If I can do it for myself, then I can help them do it. But I was like, I can't even remember for myself.
I'm trying to incorporate tongue scraping in the morning. And I think I'm like, 1 for 7 or something like that. I've only done it once out of the week, but
I need to like hang my toothbrush on like a string, so when I walk into the bathroom, it hits me in the face. So, but that is a powerful habit.
Brushing your
teeth are connected to a lot more than we think.
Yeah, they are.
So I've heard.
when I don't brush my teeth at night, I'm telling you, my whole next morning is just like,
Hey,
because see, I've let one little
yeah.
micro habit that I take care of myself go, then it becomes, well, I don't know if I'm gonna make my bed or not.
Yeah.
I'll just let that go, and then I've compromised
Mhm.
already, you know. So.
Gotcha.
That's good.
That's good. Starting the night before.
The thing
Yeah.
that works for me is brushing one tooth. Have you ever tried that? Have you ever tried that? The hack is that it's a mindset hack. So if you have a hard time brushing your teeth, you just say, I'll just brush one tooth. As soon as you brush one, you're going to brush all of them. You know, it's kind of like that mindset of like, I'll just do a minute of yoga or 5 minutes of yoga. And now you're getting
Yeah.
a habit.
Yeah.
So that's the level I'm at. I got to go. I'm just going to brush one tooth.
I've never thought about that with my own habit. Like, I'm taking that. Thank you. I'm doing that
One
tonight.
tooth method. You know, you can break any habit into one tooth. You know, if you're having a hard time doing that thing, just what's the one tooth for that thing? Do that. You know, I love it.
The joy.
Okay,
Thank
what
you.
is
How do you drink your coffee if you do drink coffee?
Oh, of course. I have a long answer for this one too. I don't really drink coffee, and if I do, it's decaf and definitely some plant-based creamer that does have cane sugar in it.
Nice.
okay?
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good. We
I've
just had
also-
some cane juice at the farmer's market. It was
Oh yeah.
super good.
Yeah, the boys like that. I've also become a decaf drinker. I think just like I had like I would say like Coke Zero or a Coke is like that would be like a treat for me, like especially with some good Mexican food or burger or something. But when
Yeah.
I've had that amount of caffeine, which I think is less than a cup of coffee, I don't know. I can
Yeah.
tell like now that I haven't really been on caffeine for a long time, it just makes me a little bit more like jittery. Like I'm really
Yep.
surprised because I wouldn't drink a lot, but it's definitely like I'm good with just decaf now. So
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
been a
that's
big
so cool.
shift. Yeah.
I didn't know we have that in common.
Yes. Decaf drinker now.
You guys are lame. Just kidding.
We are
Because I
not
drink
lame.
my coffee.
Yeah.
Or
I'm
it's,
just kidding. Just kidding. I did
No,
take
I
a good
know.
month off of coffee just to like kind of just try it. And then someone gifted us a really nice coffee machine. I was like, well, I'm back, you know?
Yeah.
I'm back.
So,
I
it's been
mean,
great.
It's been great. Yeah.
Okay, what's a piece of advice that you would never give again? Like maybe in the past you gave this piece of advice, but you're like, man, I wouldn't say that again. If one comes
these are hard. Now you got me tripping. Okay. I just feel like I give amazing advice all the time. This is like a hard.
true, it's true.
Yeah. I think. Oh, that we'll just go with the theme of the sugar. That cane sugar is bad for you.
Mm.
You see, I haven't gone down this rabbit hole yet, but I do like sugar.
So like sugar comes from from a plant, and it's actually that's not what's killing a lot of people. It's not
Interesting.
sugar. It's actually more processed foods.
Processed sugar.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's end with
Chelsea's like, change the topic because Stephen just loves candy.
No.
So this could be
I want
dangerous.
to wrap this up for our listeners and for Danielle. 'cause
We just
she's
open
got
up a
things
wormhole though. I
to
got to learn
do.
about the sugar.
No. But I would love some like rapid fire, Danielle. What are some
Okay,
rapid fire
okay.
like health hacks or like, the cane sugar thing
More
that you
sugar.
wouldn't necessarily like think of or know or everybody would know? What are some maybe like top 5 that you've learned in the last couple of years of your own health journey that you like loved sharing with others?
Okay, number 1, get in tune with your body.
Mm.
Do you know how you feel? Do you know where your stress points are in your body? So being able to literally listen. I think we live in such a noisy world, especially if my work is low, then I'm not listening. I'm not going to be listening to my body.
Yeah.
Number 1. Number 2, being willing to go on a journey to find out what foods feel really good in your body.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's not the same for everybody.
Yeah.
For me, it's sugar.
Then I say, I'm diagnosing you with a high sugar diet.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I'm
he's-
stuck on the sugar train here. Okay, number 2.
Sugar.
Number 3, move your body.
Body. Yes.
That can be a 5-minute walk. That can
Yeah.
be a 5-minute stretch, kind of talking about the micro habits. Movement is linked to longevity. And kind of going back to number 2, like, so are whole foods.
Yeah.
So, like, things that don't have labels. Most whole foods don't need labels.
Yeah.
Number 4, I would say have a community of people that love you and that you love. That could even just be one friend, even better, a community of people
Mhm.
who are like the Rainmaker family or a church or friends. And then number 5, I would say be aware of what you're putting your eyes on.
Hmm.
So, because our health is also connected to what we look at and what we
Mm.
listen to.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, that's so good. Nothing like a scary movie to give you nightmares, or looking at something really intense that's overstimulating, or
yep.
music. Like, I've really cut out a lot of social media, especially before I would go to bed. I was like okay at it, but I think in this last season, I would just find myself scrolling more and more. And lately, I've been reading, which has been so nice and peaceful. And yeah, so very cool. Well, thank you so much, Danielle, for being on the Rainmaker Family Show. I love talking about life and your own process, and then what you're coaching women in, and then all the way at the end, got some fun health hacks that we weren't expecting, but I love it. So thank you so much for being on
Thanks for
today's
being
show.
here. If you guys are listening to the show, you're not in our mastermind, get in there, rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind. You can apply there. And in the mastermind, Danielle hosts a Mindset Monday call every Monday. They do topical sessions. They do breakthrough, like live, you see people's lives transformed on Zoom, like every single month. They do that. And so get in there. It's an amazing time. So Danielle, thanks for being here. And we'll see you guys all on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Rainmaker Family Show. If you're not a part of our mastermind yet, I want to say I think you're missing out. Our heart here at Rainmakers is to create total abundance for you. That's why we're offering a free one-on-one family freedom design session for you, our faithful listener.
Yeah, if you want to hop on a call with our team, see if it's a good fit to build a business that creates time freedom for you, financial abundance, and helps you leave that thriving family legacy. That's what we're all about in our mastermind. You can grab a time on our team's calendar at rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind. Again, that's rainmakerfamily.com/mastermind.